Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hi, Jessica, Fran. So I put that little post there. Sorry, it is very noisy because I have painters, which I didn't expect to come today, but I'm really happy they're here. But I could have planned to done this a little bit better. So as you can see, my lighting is like not good at all. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Vicky. Thank you all so much for joining. So I thought of two, and it's also not the best because I can't really see. Oh, look, it just gave me a notification I was live. So that's good. Oh, hi, Anka. Hi, Marilyn. It is very rainy here. So it's rainy, it's overcast, and I do not have the brightest lights whatsoever in this house. Clearly not in the kitchen. So again, sorry, but here's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to try and make sure that I stay in the field as best I can. We're going to make this super cool card. It's really, really pretty. This is a card we made at, you know what? I'm going to bring this up just a little bit if I can without making a huge mess. See if I can make this a little higher. Come on, you bugger. I'm going to try to make it in the field of view a little better, but I have a feeling it's going to... Let's try that. Sorry, all you can see is the feet here. These little things are genius, but not, thank you for sharing, not for filming. I'm like trying to move out of my own shadow, but I can't really do it specifically well. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. Technical difficulties. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this card really, really quick. And then someone also asked me last week about the envelope punch board, about making your own envelopes. So I'm going to try and show you something with that as well. But what I want to do is we made this card last Friday at Club, and it was a really, really good hit. This actually, I did not create this. I got this idea off of Pinterest. When I find the person's name, I'll absolutely give her credit. But it was really ingenious little card because it was really quick and simple. And it's using the Swirly Bird stamp set. Oops, can't fit things in as much as I thought I could. It uses the Swirly Bird. And the Swirly Bird also does have dies, but the bundle will be ending May 31st. So if you want to get this as a bundle, which is really cool because you guys out there that love Mickey Mouse, you can make a really cool Mickey Mouse card with the swirls that come with this, which they're upstairs, so I can't show you. But it's a lot of really fun things you can do if you like Disney World. You can make a Mickey card, a mini card, lots of fun stuff with this as well. But the bundle pricing ends on May 31st. So they will carry to the new catalog, but they're separate. Hi, Tammy. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Tammy's on here and she's going to be leaving for her trip soon. How fun is that? So, also I want to make a quick note. Yesterday I got my catalog. So anyone who orders through me, and I did send you a catalog if you got on my list, and if you order, I will send you one automatically. I just received mine yesterday, and Donna told me that she got hers, which mine came shortly thereafter. So you should be getting your catalog, and it actually came in a little plastic wrapper this time, which was really nice. So it came wrapped, so you guys can actually go through and look at them. I still can't show you the actual inside of the catalog until June 1st, but it's here. So keep your eye out for your mail. It should be coming soon. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be happy to send you one. So all you have to do is send me your full mailing address to rachthestamper@gmail.com. Hard time. I know. You know, it's been weird. Facebook's been a little crazy since they've done all this privacy stuff. Everything is much more complicated. So I can totally appreciate the difficulties with that. All right, so just to make this card, what I have is I have a piece of thick whisper white. And the reason being is I kind of wanted, when I do these with the white cards, I really want them to be very sturdy. And I think that the, I'm sorry, I can't figure out where my camera is. I think that the thick whisper white is a very underrated card stock. And I use it a lot, especially if I'm making a white base card. I do use the thick whisper white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two of these, and I'm going to show you in two different color combinations. Let me just cut this real quick. And I'm going to cut one just a little bit shorter because I wanted to show you how you can use your little extra piece to make that happy birthday if you wanted to. And I'll show you what stamp set that's from as well. So let's see, it should be 4 1/4. I'm sorry, I'm doing this off screen. I'm afraid if I bring the cutter on screen, I'll end up knocking the whole production down. Okay, so I have two pieces of thick whisper white. It's very complicated, I will tell you. I don't realize how fortunate I am because I can't imagine. Tammy said she has to set her stuff up because she films in a different spot. It's definitely a little off-putting. Okay, so we have two pieces here. I cut this one a little thinner just so I could share something with you. And luckily I brought my envelope punch board down which does have a little scoring device in it. So I'm going to use this to like bone fold my card. So I'm going to just use that little device. So that's there. It's a bone folder. It's just like a little different version of it, I guess. And then I have my other one. So for this card, I actually used, for this one, I used Dapper Denim, but I thought it was a little bit dark. So instead, I actually ended up switching out to Blueberry Bushel. So what I did was I used Tranquil Tide, Lemon Lime Twist, and Blueberry Bushel. I'm so sorry. Those shadows are annoying the heck out of me, so I apologize. And then for the second card, I'll show you the other one we're going to do, because that one was really, really fun. So I'm going to grab my stamps here, and I didn't bring a mat either, so these are photopolymer. I'm going to have to take my time. So what I did was I picked, this kind of looks, when you look at it, it looks like the circles are really, really big, but it's definitely much smaller than you imagine. And another side note, anyone who is really super sad that the Gorgeous Grunge stamp set is gone, this stamp set has a lot of really cool background pieces. So it's got the little paint splatter, which is really, really fun and very simple to use. So if you're looking for alternatives, now that Gorgeous Grunge is retired, or has been retired probably, and I'm just late to the party as usual, this is a really good stamp for background stamps. All right, so what I did was, and I also used the greeting. This is in the new catalog. It's a hostess set, and it has a lot of really great greetings in it, but I like the way they're written in like handwriting. It makes it look much more personal. So I started off with Tranquil Tide, and I'm going to show you two different ways you can do this, because at the party, my friend Rhonda did it a different way, and I was like, wow, that's such a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the circle. It's kind of like a medium-sized circle. I'm going to do this in Tranquil Tide, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times. And just remember, with your photopolymer, you do want to wait a second for the ink to transfer. Okay, so there's those 3. I'm going to move this so I don't have a catastrophe. And then the Blueberry Bushel. And also, real quick side note, a lot of people are saying they're having trouble. Find out if you want to like and follow the page and click the follow button. Yes, because they're, you know what, Brianna, they changed a lot of their notifications. So thank you for posting that on there. If you're having trouble getting the stamp pads open, because a lot of people said they are, if you're holding them a certain way, and again, I'm trying to get this in here so I don't ruin it. If you're holding them like, what way is it? Like this. If you're holding it like this, it's not easy to open this way. The easiest way to open it, and I'm going to just switch hands for sake of the camera, is if you put your hands on the side here, and then you put one hand here. I think it must somehow release the pressure on it, and it makes it easier to open. So if you're having trouble opening the new stamp pads, instead of holding it like top to bottom, like which is probably how we used to hold our old ones this way, you want to hold it on the side when you open it. Okay, so I'm going to add in my little tiny dot in the Blueberry Bushel. And this one you can kind of add as many as you want if you want to add it more than 3. I'm just going to kind of do one off, and one down here at the bottom. So again, these just slide like a compact, but if you're going to do it like you're doing a makeup compact and thinking you're going to hold it like this, it does make it more difficult. If you hold one on the side and then you flip up like this, it makes it a little simpler. So hopefully that'll help you out. And then we're going to add in Lemon Lime Twist, and that will be our little splatters. So I'm just kind of put these all over, and you can make them as light or dark as you want. So like once you've done 3 of them, then you could kind of stamp off if you wanted to add a few more. There you go. So very simple. And I probably should have brought my little stamping scrub here, but excuse me one sec. I'm just going to rinse these at the sink so they dry. Sorry about that. Kind of crazy stamping in your kitchen when you're not used to stamping in your kitchen. I don't really have a whole lot of other places to escape to because the second floor is kind of a disaster. But mind you, we've lived in this house for 6 years. And we have my son's room and bathroom painted. And we painted the downstairs, but it's a really pretty color. It's actually 2 colors. But because this house is kind of so dark, it really makes it look dark. So we decided to repaint it with a lighter color. So, all right, now what I intended to do was to trim off a piece that would be fat enough, but you can see I trimmed this a little bit too skinny. So you would normally put your sentiment on here, but this is gonna be a little bit too tiny. So we're gonna just skip the sentiment for now. And then what I thought would be fun is to add your jewel rhinestones. And so you guys can see these are some of the old ones. And we will put these, if I can get them off. Forgot my paper piercing tool as well. So we'll put just a couple of these rhinestones on. This poor painter's probably wondering what the heck I'm doing. Surprise! You're on Facebook Live. All right, so I just put three of them on there. You could put more if you wanted to. And this would be a great way if you still have these little strips of the tiny ones to use them up. You could do that as well. You can even put like a row of them on the bottom, which would be super cute. But basically the only other thing I did was I just added a sentiment to it, which made it really, really pretty. So that's all you have to do is add your sentiment. But let me show you the other one. So my stampers, we didn't have a whole lot of people at the party last week because it was kind of an off week, but I promised that when we did this club, we were going to do it no matter how many people did or didn't come, we were going to do it no matter what. So we didn't have as many people, so I kind of had cut a few extra supplies. So I was like, you guys, why don't you make another one of these? And instead, I just brought all my new stamp colors that I had gotten. So I was like, why don't you guys use some new colors? So this is the color combination they came up with. Balmy Blue, Highland Heather, and Gorgeous Grape, which are beautiful colors, and you could easily swap out the Balmy Blue for the Seafoam Green, I believe it is, which would be really pretty as well. Or you could do like 2 pinks and a blue would be pretty, but they ended up making this one as an additional card, and I'm going to show you what Rhonda did. So I'm going to open these all up. That way they're all ready, and that way I can fold this thing over and explain. But Rhonda is very creative. She likes to do things outside the box. If she's listening, I hope she takes that in the kind way that I'm giving it. But what she did was she took her paper, because we always have, you know, I give them a grid paper to work with. So what she did was she folded her grid paper over to like here. And then what she did was, so I'm going to do the darkest first. So she took her purple. So we'll go with Gorgeous Grape. And she stamped them kind of all over. And it's funny because when she's showing me this, the first time I really wasn't realizing, but she made this nice little line, so it looks so cool, which was such a good idea. And I'm like, Rhonda, how did you get your stuff to line up? And she's like, oh, I just folded my paper over. But that's kind of how Rhonda does everything. She's very ingenious at making things work. So then we'll do the second one with Highland Heather. And again, these will be a little bit better looking if I brought my paper piercing mat to stamp onto, or if I had something to stamp onto. And then for the last one, we'll do our little splotches in Balmy Blue. But it was kind of cool because there was like this little line of things where things weren't, you know, they were very light. And then it just had this really beautiful edge. The other cool thing you could do if you wanted to is you could add even like a piece of ribbon here. So you could cut a little slit in the top and run a piece of ribbon on it. Or the new coolest thing, and I've seen everybody doing, all the kids are doing it, as you know, the new saying goes, cut a little strip of either silver or champagne or dazzling diamonds, like I'm talking like a 1/4 inch. So say if this one was dazzling diamonds, and you could just lay it down right there. So cool. What a great idea though. So then for this one, what I had them do instead of the rhinestone, since it was a little bit softer of a card, is I had them add the pearls instead. So again, I'm just gonna try not to stab myself with this craft knife. Oopsie, one got away. So I just put the pearls on this just to kind of make it a little bit softer of a card. And it was like a little bit prettier this way, I thought. So I just kind of added, oops, 2 of them got stuck together, a few of these randomly. And you could do the big ones and the little ones, kind of up to you. And then, oops, same thing with your sentiment. Then you could just use your little extra trim piece and lay your sentiment across there. But a great idea just to use the little strip of something just to kind of give your card like a little bit of extra bling there is a really good idea. So both of those cards, very, very simple to do. Minimal supplies. I mean, all you're going to do is just pick 3 inks, and you can pick 3 of the new inks. You could pick 3 of your favorite inks. But I think the really fun part about these stamps with the inks now is that they're much easier to line up and kind of figure out what 3 colors would you want to do together, because you can actually hold them without them falling all over the place. So pretty cool that they stack like that. So you could have even done this with taking out the dark grape. Blueberry bushel, balmy blue, and Highland heather would be really pretty. But lots of fun combinations, especially with all these new colors that are coming out. So those were 2 really, really simple cards. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and show you real quickly. This might be a little bit more of a feat though, because of how this camera, kind of doozy of a camera setup is here. So there's your purple one. And then this is the blue one. And then again, all you have to do is just add your little sentiment to it. But these cards, you could bang out a ton of these cards and have them ready for almost any occasion. I mean, you could do these in yellows and oranges. Really, really simple. And again, once I relocate my pin, I will give credit to the person who I saw this idea from on Pinterest. It was really, really cool idea. And a great use also of the Swirly Bird set, because this is, I think, a very undervalued stamp set as well. But I'm glad it's carrying over. Okay, so what you're going to do with your envelope punch board. So this is a little complicated because of this ridiculous stand, but that's the Swirly Bird stamp set. So Swirly Bird is the one that has the circles in it. Oopsie. And then hand delivered is a new Hostess stamp set. And this is going to be in the catalog that premieres June 1st. So I move this over. So when you're going to do your envelope punch board, all you basically have to do is decide what size cards you're going to make. So if you wanted to make any size card, you can make an envelope for it. I will say most of them, if you're making a card that's square, it does require extra postage. However, if you were making a card that's square and you just kind of went up to a 5x7 envelope, you still use regular postage. It's just the ones that are square, I believe, because they have to be hand canceled, you have to add extra postage to them. And then there is a certain size that they won't ship, but I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So for this card, this is just your standard 4x6 card. I'm sorry, 4 by 4.25 by 5.5, or this one was 4. But I still will put this in a regular size envelope. So what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock that measures 8 by 8. Okay, so I'm going to just trim this. Now this is some, I don't even know what brand paper this is. This is some paper somebody gave me a long time ago. It's kind of like a cross between Stampin' Up's Thick Whisper White and the regular paper, but it's not smooth. It definitely has a texture to it. You can see the lines in it. And quite frankly, if I'm putting something through the mail, I really would not use the good paper that Stampin' Up has. That's just me personally. I'd rather use cheap paper. Thicker, I'm not saying you want to use thin, cheap paper, but I'm saying you want to use something that you're not spending all your money on. I'd rather use my good cardstock for the actual card and then use like a cheaper piece for this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 8 by 8. And I'll show you how to do it. And hopefully this works, because if not, I have to go upstairs and get another piece of paper, and that's going to be a little too time consuming. So you have your 8 by 8. Okay. Great blue butterfly stamp at post office for non-machine. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so what you're going to do is you have your 8 by 8 piece, and you're going to score this at 3.5. Okay, so with your punch board, again, I'm going to try to show you the best I can. You're going to have your markings are all up at the top here. So you're going to go with 3.5, which is right there, is when you're going to score your first one. So you just slide this in, and you punch. And then you take your scoring device that comes with it. And I usually kind of run from the bottom to the top. Okay. Now, if you want to make an envelope that's square, you're going to keep going with the 3.5. However, if you want to make one that is a rectangle, which is what you typically want most envelopes to be, what I usually do is, now I'll line this up with this little pointer here, and then I'll punch. So instead of going again to 3.5, I'll punch there, run my scoreboard. And then again, I'll line it up. Now this time it's going to so happen that it will line up with the 3.5. Punch again. Run it up. Turn it. Line it up with that last line here. It's kind of hard to see from where you guys are, but punch it. And then score the final time. Now you also, with this punch board, you also have the ability to round your edges, which was also another good substitute if you wanted to corner round stuff. So all you do then is you just put this in backwards. So you put it in like this, and you'll punch it, and it rounds the corner for you, okay? So it just kind of depends on what you want it to look like. So you round all 4 corners. Okay, and then one other thing I will tell you, of course I did not bring my tearing tape down, but you definitely want to use a good adhesive for this, okay? Because you want it to stay closed. But my one other suggestion is, I have done this before. I saw, oh my goodness, I can't think of what her name is. Not Jennifer McGuire, my other friend. Christina Werner does a lot of decorations when she does her envelopes. So if you decided, for example, so say you wanted to stamp, I don't know, we'll just go with this one. Again, I'm totally off-roading here, so this was not my plan on what to do. So we have a little boat, and we have our little sail, and we have our other little sail. So we'll just do these 3 for now. So let me pull these guys off. So if we were to put your little boat, so kind of keep in mind where you think you're going to put your address. So if your kind of address is going to kind of go like here, and then I normally put my return address on the back. So I have all the space to write the address. You definitely don't want to go into your space for your stamp. So I'm going to put this boat down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and just do blueberry bushel, and you can decorate your envelope as much as you like, as little as you like, as long as you don't interfere with the stamp and the name is legible. That really is all that matters. If you ever have a question of whether something's going to be too much, you could also go to your post office and just say, like, is this going to be okay to mail, or do I need, oops, almost lost my stamp. Or do you need extra postage for it? But most of the time, as long as it doesn't interfere with the address or the stamp, those are the most important things. So we'll just put this here. All right, and then I'll go with a gorgeous grape. Move this out of the way. And I'll put in my other part of my sail. And there's also a product called Micro Distress Glaze, if you've heard of it. I believe Michael's and Joann's and those sort of places carry it. You could put that over top of your image if you're worried about it running, because these are water-based inks, so they will wash away if they get wet. The reason I know that is my friend sent another friend this card that she made, and I guess somehow along the way it got dropped, and pretty much everything was erased from the card on the inside and the out except the address, because it was written in pen. So you could put that on top of there if you wanted to, but you could, depending on what kind of card you're going to write, you could, you know, do your little boat on the bottom, and then you could say, hope you feel better soon, if you wanted to. We'll just make this one kind of like you're sailing away. We're going to go with a little theme here. Move this out of the way. I'm going to try not to get ink all over everything since I'm out of my element. Oh my gosh, you guys, I got stamps everywhere. Things all stuck to me. So I'm going to put "To the Graduate." And you could stamp that up top before you even added in the address. So you could totally put "To the Graduate" up here if you wanted to. There you go. That way you have your little boat. And you could take, if you had your blender pen with you, or your marker, you could put a little bit of water squiggles there, but since I don't have any of that stuff with me. And then all you're going to do, it is much simpler to write everything down before you start. So what you could do is you could just grab your pencil and just kind of practice what you're going to write. So I'm just going to fill something in. Okay, so just our little fake address here. Make sure that everything is legible. So if you wrote this in, that was a big bump. Hopefully it wasn't anything breaking. So if you wrote this in pencil and then you went back and you traced it, you could trace it with like a Sharpie, or you could trace it with, they also have envelope addressing pens, which the ink is not removable. So make sure if you're going to do something with that, that you take your time, kind of lay out what you want to do. But as long as you have everything on there, everything is dark and everything is legible, that's all you have to do. Thanks, Brina. I appreciate that. I do really love handwriting. So I'm very particular when I actually write something correctly that I take my time writing it. But once you get your thing addressed and you have everything the way you want to, about that, you're going to fold these in just like that. You're going to fold your other flap, okay? And then you're going to put tear and tape. Now be mindful, okay? You're going to put tear and tape here and here. And then I will put it on this flap as well here, but not to the tip, and here, okay? Because if you put it on the tip, your tip is out, so you don't want to get your card stuck when it's in there. So definitely make sure you put tear and tape on this side here, on this side here, and then I'll usually put a little strip here and here. And then I will take, once I get it adhered, I will take my my bone folder and just press to make sure that they seal together, and just to make sure everything is really nicely creased. And then all you have to do, now I know this isn't actually closed, but all you have to do is you just take your envelope and you slide it right in. And then I do the same thing up here. I will put tear and tape up here and up here, and then fold and close it. And again, I always put my return address on the back. I like doing it that way, just me. You can do it wherever way you want. You certainly have room for a postal address up here, but I kind of think sometimes when you take the time to do the stamping and you make the name really pretty, you want this to be like the focus, and then your return address will be on the back. And one other quick thing, make sure, if you decide to do the microglaze and you rub it on here, so it's just like, it's kind of like, feels like Crisco. So what you do is you rub it on your stamped images, and then you get a towel and you kind of wipe the excess off. Do not get it on your stamp, because if your stamp is altered or they can't cancel it, they will not send your letter. So just be careful. Otherwise than that, that's really all you have to do. And then you can make any size envelope. But again, this is a completely mailable size envelope. You also, do you know that other place called Hallmark that makes cards? If you think about it, their envelopes are really big sometimes for a lot of their cards. They're like a 5x7, and that still uses the same postage as this. So again, with the post office, I'm not 100% sure, but you can't mail things that are too small. So I think anything that's kind of smaller than this, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this would probably end up measuring, let me see what it measures in total. This measures about 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. So pretty much this is probably about the smallest, but you can still mail a 5x7 envelope with the same amount of postage. So yeah, the boat kind of looks like, you know, you're moving on to new things. But again, if I had my everything else with me, I'd put like a little bit of water down here, or, you know, maybe fill in a little something with the mast or whatever. And again, I would definitely make sure you write your address in ink. So that is all for today. And I'm going to just pop these back in here so maybe you guys can kind of see what they look like. But again, I will post all of this stuff later on to the blog, and I was glad I was able at least to get that in. I know someone last week asked about the envelope punch. The envelope punch board, I do make my own envelopes for a lot of my thank you cards that I send out for orders. So if you place an order, usually we'll get a thank you card with an envelope with a little something in it. And I think it kind of makes it like a little bit more of a personal experience. So I like to do that stuff, especially because right now I don't have a whole lot of clients. So I like to try to treat you extra kind. That way, you know, hopefully you'll come back. So thank you guys as always for joining in. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a comment if you're watching, because I will do a drawing. I'm not sure if I'll do it later today or tomorrow, but I'll do a drawing for a prize. Since I'm not upstairs, I really don't know what I have laying around, but I have a lot of good stuff since we've done some pre-order things. I actually have some extra ink pads. So maybe I can give away an ink pad. That would be pretty fun. I have a couple ink pads to do. Because, you know, when we did the pre-order, I was lucky enough that I won Grapefruit Grove. I believe I won it. I can't remember at one stage. It's been so long now, even though it's not that long ago. So I have an extra one new in the wrapper. And make sure if there's anything that you guys want from the catalog, that is, I don't have my old catalog down here so I could show you. If there's anything you want, the in colors, that stuff is all going to be going soon, because if they decide to add any reductions, I know a lot of the paper has already sold out. So if you are trying to get any of the ink refills that are retiring, Always Artichoke, make sure you at least get your refill. That way you can refill your ink pad and you can refill your marker. Those are like the main things. And then there's some stuff that's kind of sad that's retiring, like the Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper, but they have a different one that's coming out. It's more of an iridescent. It's very pretty. So check the retirement list. The ink pad idea, and make sure that you have what you want, because once it's gone, you know it's going to be on eBay for $8 million, and you're going to be sad and say, darn it, I knew I should have listened to Rachel. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you tuning in during the banging and the relocation, and I will see you next Wednesday right here live on Rachthestamper on Facebook at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Thanks for watching. Oh yes, you can refill the pens. Andrea, I just saw that right before I signed off here. I did a video, and if it's not on here, it may be on YouTube that you can search. But you are able to refill the pens. You just have to pull out. There's two different, you have the brush tip and you have the pen tip. You just pull them out very gently, put in like 1 or 2 drops. You don't want to put too much in, and then just reinsert the tip back in. So it's very, very simple. It's very messy, but it's pretty simple to do. So you can refill those. So thank you guys for watching. Have an awesome week.